There you go. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Brawley City Council successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency. Regular meeting agenda for May 2nd at 6 p.m. here at the City Council chambers. We can have the roll call, please.
Yes, the minutes will reflect that all the council members are present.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the invocation by Council Member Hamby.
Let's all stand. Bow our heads and pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you again tonight for your many blessings. We thank you for this opportunity that we have to gather together in this building to work out the future of our city. We thank you for the responsibility that you've placed in our hands, and we ask that we would do right by it, that you would give us wisdom, that you would give us knowledge, and we ask that you would continue to place your hand of protection upon our city. We thank you for our city staff, our safety services, for the hard work that they do to keep this city running, to keep us safe. We ask that you would just be with us in this room tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much. Rachel Fonseca, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written? Motion?
I'll motion to approve as written.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is we're going to go into closed session. So we will go into closed session on some legal matters, and then we're going to go out. Reason for it, we decided to put it at the top of the meeting is just because our attorney's on, he's being paid during the course of time, so he waits. We're being billed, so we're going to just take care of the items up top, and we'll come back when we're out. Thank you. Everyone, we're coming back in from closed session. Our city attorney, would you report out, please?
Sure. On item A, which is existing litigation, the vertical bridge, direction was given to our outside legal counsel. On item B, all three items, direction was given to our negotiators.
Thank you very much. All right, so the next item on the agenda is item 3, public appearances, comments, not to exceed 4 minutes. This is a time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. Is there anyone here who would like to make a public comment on any item not appearing on the agenda today?
To the mayor, the city council, the city manager, city attorney. My name is Carol Klaus. Regarding the noise ordinance. This is the 8th time that I have attended the city council, and that's 4 months to get the noise ordinance revised. And nothing has been done to date to control the noise in the city. I'm a senior citizen, and I shouldn't have to continue to be rest broken Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays until 2 a.m. in the morning. I don't sleep at all. The Cerdad Plaza is not a senior citizen apartment complex. It consists of all ages, senior citizens to unborn babies. I have submitted a petition signed by 60 people to date to lower the loud music at 10 p.m. to no avail. The public needs to know that the city of Brawley does not have a noise ordinance controlling the level of noise at any time. A person can play loud music as long as they want, and nothing can be done. All other cities in Imperial County has a level of noise control ordinance but Brawley. It is the state law of California that every city is supposed to have a noise control ordinance for 10 p.m. State law and city ordinance to deal with loud music and noise, California Penal Code 415.2 states that it is illegal to maliciously and willfully disturb another person with loud and unreasonable noise. As a law resident of the Brawley, I need to know what is going to be done about this problem so I can rest at night, as each of you do. I'm tired of attending these meetings and nothing is being done. If you are doing anything about it, it has not proven by the sound of the noise being the same as it was before or louder. As of date, no one has contacted me from the City Council, even though my info is available. Respectfully submitted, Carol Goss.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to make a public comment?
No, I second that. Same thing. I live in the same address, same problem.
And your name, sir, for the record?
Jesus Calderon.
This is good.
4 months, and every 2 months, every month we come twice, and nothing's been done. Nothing whatsoever.
All right, is there anyone else who'd like to make a public comment?
I'm Lori Gibson. I also live there, and I'm really disappointed too. It seems like a simple thing to be fixed, and nothing's being done.
Any additional comments from?
Hi, my name is Mariana Isaac. I also live at the Ciudad Plaza, and the noise is hectic. It bounces off one wall and it hits right in. It's like if they're in my living room window, and my living room, and then it's my bedroom. Well, my daughter's bedroom, and then my bedroom. And it's just, I just don't understand how they can play their music at all hours of the night, but yet if you're having a house party and a neighbor calls or whatever, oh, they have to shut the music down, and I just don't understand. When it's just as it's bothering them, it's bothering us as tenants living there. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who'd like to make a public comment on any item not appearing on the agenda?
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Rubin. I'm a board member of Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District, and I just wanted to give you an update on 918. The bill addresses having one district in Imperial County, and the bill, we were very unhappy with the first rendition, but the one that went to committee and came out, we can live with. I really appreciate Assembly Garcia bringing this forward. However, it would be nice to just keep it local and go through the local LAFCO outside of the legislative process. However, if he wants to continue with the process, we can work with that. So I just wanted to give you an update, let you know where we are. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. And I like that photo because it's like right across the street. It's like I can see through the wall.
There you go. Thank you for your comment.
That is a window.
That is a window. Thank you for your comment. Is there anyone else who'd like to make a public comment on any item not appearing on the agenda?
Hi, good evening. My name is Christy Camus, and the reason I'm here tonight is to address a concern that I have regarding a property here in Brawley, 368 H Street, H as in Henry. I do live at 344 H Street. My granddaughter lives next door at 354 H Street, and the address in question, 368 H Street, has been abandoned now for about the past approximately 4 years, when the resident died, and the family did not rent the house or sell the house or close up the house. Since that time, we've called the police numerous times due to people going in and out of the house, people vandalizing the house. The house has been caught on fire twice now. It scares us to go to sleep at night and not know if we're going to wake up in the middle of the night with our block on fire. At this point, the house has several people throughout the day going in and out, living, squatting, whatever the case may be. I know the city has tried to board up the house a few times and it has been broken into again. And right now, the house has several, I have pictures where you can see there are several bushes, trees, fire hazards, you can see there that it has burned down, that are, I'm afraid are just, it's just tinder, just waiting for our block to go up in flames. And I would like to have something addressed. I do know that the original owner has sold the house, it went up for auction, somebody did purchase it, but I don't know what the timeframes are for the new owner to take action and either demolish it, repair it, fence it in, close it off, or whatever, but I believe that this is a hazard. And I don't know if you can help me, tell me what can be done. I know I've contacted the fire marshal. The fire marshal was there at the last fire. I did speak with them. I've gone to the city building inspector several times, and we're very concerned.
All right, well, thank you. You're in the
Mr.
right
Mayor,
venue.
if I may.
Certainly.
Public Works has given me several houses to work on. This one probably is on the list. And the process is to try to get a receiver to take possession of it and either sell it, demolish it, or what have you. It takes a while to do it.
It did go up for auction, and it has been purchased. We just don't have the new owner's name yet. That happened recently.
That was probably through the tax sale.
No, actually, the owner relinquished it because the city did give the owner, they said they wrote to the owner and gave them their 45 days to respond and do whatever they did. They relinquished it, and it went up for sale, and it was sold.
Okay, well, if it's on my list, I'll talk to Oscar about it. If it's on my list, we'll deal with the new owner.
Please.
Thank you.
Because
There's
we have to
several.
call-
There's several like this. that
Yeah,
we're
there
trying to
are.
get
Yeah,
out.
And
and
we go through the
unfortunately-
process, and we have actually gone in and been successful. So it just takes a long time.
It's a pain.
You have to
Unfortunately-
understand, property rights are powerful rights, right? So it's very difficult for a city to go in. There is a process we have to follow, and it's a long, lengthy process, right?
And if they're in there and they're remodeling or demolishing, that's fine. But
Right,
it's just
but it's
sitting.
vacant.
And now, I mean, my property rights are being infringed
Right.
upon because I can't leave my property for the weekend, not worrying if it's going to burn down because
Understood.
people are in there and it's caught on fire twice.
Right.
What's your last name, ma'am?
Camus, CAMOU.
Okay, thank you.
368 8th Street, and we will
363 H.
368.
8?
I have it.
Okay, I wrote it down wrong.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else who'd like to make a public comment on any item not appearing on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on. All right, thank you. Next item is, public appearances and comments. This is Chief York is coming up here, and he is recognition of the Brawley Firefighters and Burn Institute's 2023 Fill the Boot event. And Chief York, all right.
Good evening, Mayor Nava, City Council members, and city staff, members of the public. Mike York, Fire Chief. Tonight, just wanted to take a little bit of opportunity whenever we have some activity of great public good. I think it deserves to be recognized. I want to recognize the efforts of the Brawley Firefighters, the Brawley Firefighters Association this evening, and especially want to recognize the unparalleled generosity of our community. So every year we participate in the boot drive, the Fill the Boot for the Burn Institute. All the proceeds go to our local Burn Institute. All of these funds are used locally for our burn survivors, for fire safety presentations, fire safety education. And with me tonight, I have this trophy that the Burn Institute made back in 2012. It's a perpetual trophy. It's presented each year to the fire department that gathers the most funds. And we had a little dip where a couple of years we weren't able to participate, but there's 10 names on this trophy, and 5 of them are the city of Brawley.
There you go.
So
Fantastic.
these guys put in a lot of work. It's a lot of effort, but
Give him a round of applause. How about that?
thank you. I actually invited firefighter Martin Melendez. He's the president of the Brawley Firefighters Association. In addition, for several years now, he's actually been the coordinator for this boot drive, whether he's in the position or not. Why don't you come on up here, Martin, please?
Looks like you have a helping hand there too, so that's good, you know? There you go. Good, how are you?
So, no, this year, most years when we do this, the city's, their generosity really shows. It's awesome to be a part of it. It's a really good cause, and it's just awesome to see everybody donating, helping out.
How much was raised this year, if you don't mind?
Over $4,200.
Wow,
So
$4,200.
that money, like I said, stays locally. The pictures that are showing right now, there are a few pictures of some of our staff out there collecting, and there'll be some pictures cycle up of some of the activities that the Burn Institute hosts. For instance, these are all burn survivors. They're participating in arts and cooking classes. They really do a lot of effort to make sure that people reintegrate back in society bearing their scars, unfortunately. But this year alone, the Burn Institute locally has presented fire safety education to over 3,000 school-age children. That's kindergarten through 6th grades. Installed over 70 smoke detectors in senior citizens' homes, and provided assistance to over 555 parents, caregivers, and survivors. Everything from helping get up to over the hill, hotel vouchers, things like that. So it's a really great cause. The money stays local, and these guys put out a lot of work every year. It's a lot of effort to get set up and go and play in traffic.
We appreciate that very much. Congratulations and thank you. Chief, I know I've asked this question before, but with respect to the victims of burns and the burn victims there, and I know I've asked it before, but just for the sake of asking again, what are some of the reasons that they're burned? Is it like, hot water, scalding water? Is it?
Unfortunately, the answer is preventable accidents account for the vast majority. Mm-hmm. So you're very right. Hot water, scalding water is a very typical source. That's one of our primary focuses when we do these school-age children education, kitchen safety. That's where the fire's at. That's where the heat's at. There's a lot there too. Adjusting the thermostat on your hot water heater so that they don't turn the wrong knob, right, etc. And then, of course,
when people think of burn, they're thinking, fire, and it's just not. It's not that.
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, in the last year, we've had in the last few years. Let me rephrase that. Last few years, unfortunately, we've had a few really regrettable incidents with fireworks. So that's part of what we'll be working on towards educating as we approach our 4th of July season. Just making sure people are safe and utilizing those in a conscious manner.
Fantastic. Would you like to introduce your guest here?
Oh, yes, this is Everett. She's 3 years old.
How are you?
She's wearing her Brawley Firefighters Association t-shirt tonight.
How are you today?
Show the chapstick.
Yeah, everyone's watching you. See, they're all
on TV.
There you go. Well, thank you very much for everything that you do. We appreciate you very much. Another big round of applause, please.
This trophy once again lives at our fire station for another year.
Fantastic. Great job. Thank you again. She's like, now can I get my McDonald's? And here we go. Right? That's right? She's like, right? Thank you again. All right. Next item is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as written?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. My vote was aye. Next item is city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 good items here, personnel, staff related. First out of the chute, I would like to welcome Anna Gutierrez as the first, come on up, Anna, as the first public works analyst for the city of Brawley. She's been here for over 24 and a half years, working for the city in multiple capacities, going above and beyond and keeping public works in line over there. And we're happy to have her on board in the new position. So thank you, Hannah.
Anna, share some comments.
I wanted to share a little bit. Like Tyler said, I've been here 24 and a half years. October will be 25. And I've had the privilege to work under, great city managers, public works directors. And when I first started for the city, I was the administrative secretary. And along the way, starting with Yasmin, she said, you know what, I'll give you as much as you can handle. Obviously, you know, we can't change your position or anything because there wasn't any openings. But the knowledge that I've gained throughout these years, you know, I started off with labor compliance to the point where it was just signing, you know, in payrolls that were coming in, to now actually going out to the field, doing the actual labor compliance, interviewing employees, making sure that the contractors have the correct federal and state wages up there. They have the correct requirements that, you know, are needed out there so that we can continue to get these grants and make sure. A lot of times we think that once we have the money, that's it, you know, but the compliance that goes along with it, from actually putting out the bid documents. You know, I've shared with management before and also other staff that a project is driven by our funding source, you know, and unfortunately everybody has different requirements that we have to adhere to. We might not like them, you know, but in order for us to continue to be accepting that money, to have these projects, to build different things throughout the city, we need to make sure that those, you know, requirements are met. And that's been my job. And I love what I do. You know, somebody said that if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. And you know what? I love what I do. I love, and I want to grow. You know, in thanking Tyler the other night, he said, you know what? There's other things. I want to be able to not just end it here. I want to be able to advance and do something different. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your 24 and a half years of service. You know, it's great. And the time I've been on council, you know, we've chatted over the years, and it's always been a pleasure working with you. And I'll tell you, so many people say so many great things about working with you and your knowledge base. In fact, I received those comments just the other day, and I hope he doesn't mind, but Armando Garibay was expressing that to me and how knowledgeable you were. So congratulations, and, you know, as always, keep on doing that great work. Any comments from council?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, Anna, I'll just call that 25 years. We round up for sure. So, you know, but just again, the energy. I know the years or weeks where I used to come through the office and certainly see you. You're a staple there, and thank God it's that stability. I think that kind of helps a city like ours in combination, obviously, as you know, new leaders and whatnot come through. But we got to have that experience that you referenced, and then your enthusiasm to continue to develop and grow. So that's very exciting. Congratulations, you know, fantastic, and happy for you and your family.
Yeah, and thank you so much for the work you do as a construction worker, which I still am.
Yeah, she lays tile and everything.
I don't lay tile. I wish I could. I wish I could. But you know, but check it out. Misclassification of employees is a big problem for us in the industry. And obviously, as we see the need to fill these positions, those folks that are retiring, you know, who's going to continue to build and rebuild America, right? We need skilled tradesmen. And misclassification and not enforcing that is a huge problem, and it kills a lot of opportunities, I think, for a simple, you know, very contrary, just trying to make an extra buck or save a little bit on that prevailing wage. So your role and the things that you do, especially for the youth, the young construction workers in the industry, is huge. And I don't know if you know it or not, but I was there on one of the projects as a second-year apprentice, and I was getting ripped off. And I remember the compliance officer coming in and asking me about my wages and fixing that. And the following week, I got myself a nice little $500 check or so. So it's huge, and it matters not just to what's happening to our city, but to our workers and to the future of this country, I believe. So you're a key player in that. So thank you so much for your work.
Yeah, congratulations, and thank you for your years of service and for the history that you bring. You know, as people work for decades and then they retire, we lose that bit of history, the knowledge that they have, and even though people try to pass that on to the next generation, a lot of times it takes, you know, 2 or 3 people to fill the shoes of those that are retiring, you know. So we're grateful to have you continue to work for the city of Brawley.
So we're saying you can't retire, is what we're saying. you can't
I don't plan on it. Not anytime soon.
Right, good. Thank you. Bill, would you like to add any comments?
Yes, I'm very new here, so I'm not very much experience with working with you, but I've seen you around the community so much, and I know when you toured, I spoke with you briefly, but congratulations. Like Lou said, that experience, that knowledge, that historical knowledge is, you know, paramount to a city succeeding, and it speaks far more than other things. I think just that wisdom, and really grateful to have someone with over 20 years here to be able to not just help guide us in the present toward the future, but also the new ones coming in that you can instill your wisdom and experience on. And so congratulations.
Congratulations. Big round of applause, Ryan. Thank you again. Thanks again, and congratulations. City Manager.
All right, thank you. Next, she does not need any introduction, but familiar face. We will come on up, Shirley. Shirley has agreed to come out of retirement like Tom Brady for another round.
There you go. That's a good way to say it.
Human Resources Administrator, and she's getting us back up to speed. We've had a little hole there for a few months, and luckily I was able to convince her to come back for a little bit. And so, Shirley, thank you.
Thank you for having me back. It's a pleasure to be back in this building. I had a look at the room and I said, it's changed a little bit, but it's great to be back and to be helping not only the staff, but helping the residents as well. So hopefully I'll give you my best couple years. We'll get somebody to shadow me for a while, and so the handing off the baton will be smoother.
I appreciate that. Congratulations
Thank you.
and welcome back. It's great to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be back, sir.
Shirley, I'm glad you didn't burn rubber out of here when you
Yeah,
did
right.
retire.
No.
So no, it was a slow,
no burning of rubber. I have too many speeding tickets. I can't burn any more rubber.
So you got a haircut, Marine?
Yeah, you know it's retreads.
Well, welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, it's my pleasure to announce the appointment. Today's his first day, Mr. Ram Medina, as the Director of Public Works Operation. As council is aware, that's part of our one of our first steps in responding to our business needs. We're a little reorg we're going. So Ram comes to us with over 22 years of experience in just about everything: municipal operations, public works, grant writing. He has both a BA and MA in public administration, and he's bringing a lot to the table. And today was his first day, and hopefully, after I got through with him, he didn't want to quit. But there's a lot to do there, so we appreciate it. Thank you, Ram.
Welcome.
Yes.
Mike is yours, my friend. Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler, for that warm welcome. And Mayor Nava, Brawley City Council, members of the public, Brawley City staff. Yes, I'm honored, and it's a privilege to be here to serve as the Director of Public Works Operations. I look forward to working with your staff in moving Brawley's current efficient utility services and continuing that service. So I'm glad to be here. You have a very energetic and dynamic staff that I've already met half of them today. And yes, Tyler's right. We've already jumped into a couple of meetings today and hit the ground running. So I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Welcome to Brawley. I mean, I know that you've been operating in Calipatria for many years, and so we do welcome you and your experience, and we look forward to great things. I know Tyler has shared some thoughts about you and your professional experience with us, and we're excited to have you. I know I am. And so, we just hope that you can put that energy and that effort and that knowledge base to work here for the city and make great things happen for us. So we appreciate you. Look forward to great things with you. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I know we've only met a couple of times, but I'll tell you what, when I saw that resume come before us last meeting, I was in shock. I was like, he's coming here? So I'm very happy about the news. Obviously, we met in Calipat, but I'm very happy that you're here. I'm just excited, and we know we've done some restructuring. It's taking years to get to this point, but very, very happy to have you here and filling in that role.
Thank you.
Ram, congratulations, and certainly welcome aboard. And I'll just echo what's already been said. I knew when you were a potential candidate, it was just a matter of us going through the process and everything coming together. So certainly, thank you to Tyler too for pushing and reaching out and taking advantage of a free agent. So I think we're kind of fortunate in and of that. And Ram, as you can see, your experience here in the North End in particular, I think is going to be a valuable asset resource, as well as your leadership on having a vision that really kind of probably expands way beyond the department Public Works is a huge and very important, vital role to the success of any city. We always joke, right, Mr. Mayor, about, especially that department. Those are the things, if it goes wrong, we'll be the first to hear about it, as you know. But certainly some of the exciting projects that we've worked hard for, whether they be grant projects or projects we funded that took years and years to come together, we really appreciate your leadership stepping in. So you and the department, I'm excited for the whole department, Ram, and look forward to the future here. So welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome, Ron. It's I think the reputation of Brawley has changed over the last couple of years, and it's a place that people want to come and want to work. Thanks to Tyler's leadership, and that's trickled down throughout each department. And as a council, I think it's our desire and what we work toward to build a good leadership team here in Brawley. So we're glad that you're a part of that now, and look forward to the good things that you're going to do for the city of Brawley. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Big Ron Medina. What's up, Ron? No, I know from work and just seeing you around, but I think the knowledge and bring, running a city and seeing that big picture and the operations, the systems in place, I think is going to pay dividends for our city and for our people. And so really excited to have you on here. And I was hearing about it before I think Tyler told me. So, yeah, I think it's and everyone I've spoken with, they've seemed more just excited as me. Oh, you got Rob, great choice, great. Oh, he's going to do great. So, your work speaks for itself. The reputation you've built. Like I said, you're working out there in the north end in Calapan, yet everyone from around the valley knows your work and knows what you're capable of. And so, really excited to have you on, and welcome to Brawley.
Bill, you've worked with him for so many years.
I was there when Rom was hired.
There you
Calapat.
go. And you're here now that he's hired here.
I can tell you that Calapat has some of the smoothest streets in the valley because he found the money for them.
There you go.
You're staying for the rest of the meeting, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's going to be addressed in my public comment.
All right. All right.
I look forward to it, and thank you.
Well, congratulations. He wasn't going to stay for the rest of the meeting, but now he now he's like,
yes, he was.
Now he has to. All right. So, any additional? All right.
Thank you.
The next item is a study session update on Brawley's decommissioned water treatment plant suitability and assessment for potential redevelopment, presented by Victor Nava, GAVCON Director of Strategy, Development, and Partnerships. Mr. Victor Nava. Not to be confused with George Nava, please, because that's happened. Tomas Oliva, made that mistake. It's like, of all people.
Yeah, he always messes everything up. But
he does. He ruins people's lives. Wow.
Well, good evening, Mayor Nava, City Council, City Manager, and City Attorney, and the members of the community. Along with me today is Paul Nohar, SVP and General Counsel of GAVCON, so he'll be helping out with our presentation. We're super excited to continue to be working on the decommissioned water plant, and we're excited to begin the next phase of community engagement. So I'll give it to Paul.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor Nava and members of the City Council, City Manager, and City Attorney. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Thank you very much for inviting us. We are delighted to begin the phase of our project, which is community engagement. That's part of our agreement that we have with the city, is to consider from a grassroots standpoint, what is it that the community would like to see at the water plant site? We agree with kind of the intent that the city had to kind of make sure that everyone in the city has an opportunity to share their thoughts about what kind of use should be there, what kind of use should not be there. And so our intent is to go out and have informal meetings with citizens in the community and listen, write down what they say, report back to the City Council on what we learned. The desire would be to have the City Council participate as appropriate in the discussions, introduce us, essentially provide the support and the channel to allow these discussions. One of the things that I think we have learned over 35 years of being in business that the most successful development projects start at the community level with constant engagement, updates, so that people feel like this is their city. They have the ability to influence major developments. And certainly when one is looking at the Brawley water plant, that I believe, and we believe as a company, is a jewel of an opportunity right in the center of the city, right along the major highway and also around Main Street. That use has been there for too long. It has been perhaps, maybe the timing is just right to actually examine what the highest and best use is of that, what sort of funding sources are available through state and federal agencies, as well as what are the private partnerships that can be achieved when there's an understanding of what the community wants. Because ultimately, what will be built there will be dictated by the community. We can provide ideas, we can provide guidance, we can provide solutions when the community has decided what it would like to undertake there. So our desire is to engage with the council today to get your ideas on what would be the most successful methodology in order to proceed with this. Our suggestion is that we have at least 3 sessions that are well promoted to the community. This is when we're going to have it. You're welcome to come. Not formal sessions. I know in the city council there's a formality which sometimes can be intimidating to people. They feel afraid to kind of express. But our idea would be to make it as informal as possible, to have notepads. People, if they don't wish to speak, they can write down their ideas. We can take those ideas and collate the information and make sense of it. We can engage in conversations informally with people. And we can also have people in a more broad context share. And we can also, in certain instances, give ideas of what has worked in similar circumstances or things that we've learned in the community that can be brought forth. We know that there is a lot of exciting things happening in Brawley and in the surrounding communities, and private businesses to the north. And so coming up with those solutions and incorporating them into the Brawley fabric is so important. And that's what we hope to do through this process. And we have, if you'd like, we can talk a little bit more about the specifics of it. And Victor has that, he can share that. And then we're available to answer any questions or take whatever direction that the council may have.
All right, well, thank you very much.
So as Paul said, we're trying to really kind of give an outline of what the plan would be. Obviously, we would have 2 to 3 sessions. And again, depending on the attendance of the first 2 would dictate if we continue to do a third. We'd want to make it more than likely in Brawley Lions Center. It's a center of the town. Give accessibility. It's got capacity as well. So we want as many people to be able to attend and participate. Mayor Nava had a great idea to maybe do it on site. It might be a little too hot now to do that. But, that's a possibility as well to really understand what the site really looks like. We would definitely hand out phases of work to educate attendees. Sometimes people just don't understand what the phases of the work that we're going to be doing. How does that work? So we will definitely have handouts, very short, nothing lengthy, very simple. We would also share a short survey to attendees to complete their feedback. So maybe just more of a rating, 5 questions, very minimal, of what's most important, and we'll have those designated. So short and sweet to be able to obtain that information. We will be facilitating. Obviously, our mayor and city manager would welcome everyone at those meetings, and then we, DAFCON, would have the pleasure of facilitating these meetings and participate. We'll have a very short presentation. We did take some drone footage of the site. Sometimes it's a little easier to be able to see how big the acreage is from different angles. So we want to present that as well. We actually really want to ask the community imagination and inspiring questions, model possibility thinking and emphasis on community assets rather than problems. All answers will be written on whiteboard to gather all answers and comments. Really want to get engaged, get the people engaged. And then we report back with all those results and all those meetings, and then present it back to the council.
Fantastic.
So we'll take any questions.
Open to council, certainly.
Yeah, you know what? Just I'm glad to see you guys are finally here. When we met, over a year ago, I think. I mean, they wanted to show me some of this information. I've been waiting to see it. Do you guys have any dates scheduled yet for these presentations, meetings with the public?
Not yet. We just wanted to make sure we got your feedback first, and then we're working with Tyler and Tommy with availability. But we want to really do that ASAP.
I still think the on-site would be, great. I mean, I think, we've certainly passed by the facility hundreds of times. I think many people have, of course, but it's a different when you're actually seeing it, then you're focused your energy on something instead of maybe the Lion Center. I mean, that's a great location too, but I'm a big believer in be there, see it, and it could start later. It doesn't have to be at 6. It could be at 7:30 or 8. Have some lighting and when it's cooler. And I think people might be very interested and engaged that way. It's different. So I think that could be a way to really engage their interest. And they get to see something maybe they haven't seen, up close before, And you'll have to talk to Rom to get that clearance. But hey, today's his first day,
I just add that that's an excellent idea because when you're seeking grant funding, you're going to want to photos of the site location.
See? There you go.
Crowd that's there.
There you go. See, he's already contributing. See?
Yeah.
There you go. Right on. See, so anyway, that's just my 2 cents, but what do I know? I don't have any hair. You know what I mean? So.
No, and I agree. The farther someone has traveled, less likely they'll probably go. And so I think you on site, even what's next closest indoor would be Witter or the church right there. I mean, at the very least, closer the better. I think what also brings people is food. I think we provide food. I think I think that everyone can come around together for food, especially you have after work.
Always want food.
It works.
It does work.
It works.
Yeah,
it
food.
works.
I mean,
not little snacks, not little no, like food. Like I'm hungry right now. I'm in a very bad mood. I'm hangry.
But if you want to engage people, that's one way to do it. And if you want feedback, and that's one way to do it for sure.
Yeah, meet them and they will come.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
There you go.
Sorry, Councilmember. I just wanted to ask, just as far as the assessment, one of the things I was interested in, is there just a quick high level of what GAFCON thinks? I think part of it was using your decades of experience. I'm not going to say similar projects, but challenging projects, right? What are some of the ideas you might publicize here, as well as some of the early assessment of use? I think there's some of the demo challenges, et cetera. So what do you guys think?
So as a part of our assessment, we're doing an environmental study to determine the phase 1. And then we have reached out to get an estimate on demolition, as well as have a plan of action relating to other studies that would need to be done relating to that. But I can just share with you what our assessment is in general relating to the immediate needs. We believe that there continues to be a very strong demand for hotels. And there is a tremendous economic advantage to putting in a good hotel in the right location in a community such as Brawley. I mean, we know that because we're doing it in Imperial. And we know what our studies show, the financial gain can be not only for investors, but more importantly to the community itself, and how it increases the tax base for the community, as well as bringing new visitors and guests and creating economic benefit by restaurants and retail. So, one of the major, it's a tremendous advantage to have a site that's nearly 13 acres right in the center of the community that is a blank canvas. And so you have the ability to program that in many different ways. But one of the initial ideas that we have is the determining the suitability of that site for a hotel. With that, the suitability of retail and restaurants. And with that comes the need to actually comply with California laws relating to the Surplus Act, which requires examining housing on that location. and the right mix of housing, which also then actually fits in well with what the community needs. Right now, we know that there's a housing shortage for many of the people that are coming to work in the Imperial Valley. And so fulfilling that housing shortage in the right, everything from the right location, the right governance, the right design, the right considerations relating to what the community desires. And we also, I will tell you, think that there's always opportunities for extra green space, trees, places where families can congregate, perhaps enjoy an outdoor meal while the kids are playing in the park. You know, there's lots of different uses that are capable in that area because, you know, we have already kind of looked at some preliminary thoughts and ideas, but what we would suggest to the community of Brawley is to let those ideas flow from the community because as experienced as we are in working in many difficult projects in many communities, you know, I think that the first ideas that we always get are what the community wants. You know, is it you know, a place where maybe there's a number of different opportunities where you can have pop-up restaurants. There could be a place where there might be a community, a farmer's market, you know, that's completely enclosed away from the street. You know, things. I'm just throwing out ideas here, not necessarily talking about programmatic elements, but I think that's what we are going to really seek out is to try to bring that forth from the community, and then if the community would like us to shape some of those ideas, we can do that very effectively, I think.
Yeah. So these sessions, will you be presenting these ideas? Just because, you know, the last I'd want is, you know, the community to go up and show and say, stack it. We want a water park. We want pickleball, and then we say, well, we're going for a hotel, and then just say, well, we had all these comments, we had all these people show up wanting this thing, and now you're going with this. So will you be presenting your ideas of the hotel or these farmer markets at these sessions, or is it just going to be a blank slate for the community to go and? Well,
Our goal is to take direction and to integrate that into the presentation. That's part of the reason why we're here today. Let me share with you a recent engagement that we did in the north end of the county that turned out to be absolutely fantastic. We came up with a plan that the agency that we were working with, and we went out to the community. And while we were talking about that plan, we started peppering with ideas. This would be a great idea, or this could do this, or this could do that, and then be able to supplement the conversation to begin a dialogue where we can perhaps stimulate people's minds, make suggestions, and also show the impact that certain things could have on the community. For example, just taking the example of a hotel, and I'll use the Imperial Hotel, the infamous Ghost Hotel, which will soon be a Cambria Hotel. What we learned in community engagement there is that people at the end of the day wanted some place to go where they could bring their families, and so we incorporated into our hotel the concept of a restaurant that's a family restaurant where there's an opportunity to have the adults to have a drink, but there's also an opportunity for kids to go outside and to have a walled area where they could be outside with the parents inside. So we took the input, came out with a plan, and started to engage in that discussion. So, you know, we could do many things. We could come up with a plan and a design, and we could show it to the community. We could come up with a list of ideas already that are pre-approved, or we could come up with a blank slate and then engage in this sort of back and forth dialogue. The wonderful thing is that this is your canvas. We can do it any way you'd like and make it happen, and we can come back to you in short order with some ideas and some structure and be able to channel that. And hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that was a good question. But I think it also, I like what you're saying with respect to, you know, asking the public. I think that's really important. But I think it's also important to share your professional opinion on things, right? Because you do have that experience that we don't. We lack that. So we're needing some guidance, and maybe the public needs that too, with respect to, you know, presenting the idea of a hotel and maybe why it's strong. But of course, being open to other Because there may be a jewel out there, you know, somebody makes a comment like, hey, this could be, you know, perfect opportunity for this. But it is a large area of space too, so there may be other opportunities. So
no,
but,
we're grateful for your guidance and comment on that. I think we already have some ideas that we've developed in our minds because we've been out there studying the property and looking at the market, even though that's a little bit beyond what we've been tasked to do right now. But we see there being, just in general, an opportunity for housing, executive housing, hotels, retail, restaurant, entertainment, maybe an outdoor amphitheater, you know, things that will engage the full community. And because it's just in the center. And so as a result, the idea of bringing a gathering place where people have a place to go, enjoy, shop, and to interact. I'll just share with you some additional information. As we've been doing community engagement in other components of the community, not related to this, like, for example, the project that I was just referencing, there's all these ideas that we're getting from businesses as to what they need. And you know, part of what is needed is a place for higher education, to have a location in the center of the valley where there is amenities, where they can immediately just walk out their door and grab a burger or, you know, a bite, another bite to eat or something like that, have a cocktail or whatever. And so that Brawley is situated in a unique part of the county, and it's sort of the doorway to the future. And so taking advantage of that in a space like this, that's already sort of connected into the city infrastructure, is a golden opportunity. We view it as a golden opportunity, and we're delighted to be working as your representative in order to achieve that goal.
You know, I would like to add that we keep in mind, because there are folks, there will be folks who want that to be strictly a park or something just for public use, that we want to take full advantage of the location and this opportunity for revenue to come into the city. So a tax sale base, a property tax base, and obviously that, you know, takes us and helps our general fund. Because I've heard this before, this should be a park. So we want to make sure that it's to the benefit of the city as well, as just as much as it is for the residents. So keep that in mind.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think we, you know, as been commented, this is an awfully big space.
Yes.
And so that allows for many uses. And we know that housing is going to be a part of that, because as it stands right now, unless California changes its laws, there's a requirement to, of course, deal with any surplus property and incorporate housing in it. Mm-hmm. So we'll be looking at that as well and sharing the parameters associated with that.
Any additional comments from council?
Well, it's obviously a property that's been in that state for decades and basically costing the city money because it's not making the city any money. So we look forward to your ideas and making it something that it hasn't been able to be for many years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul and Victor. I think we have direction. So,
right. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Thanks again. All right. We will be moving on.
Where you going, George? Yeah.
All right, thank you again. Regular business. This next item is 7A. It's discussion, potential action. It's really a technical matter, or excuse me, a matter of just, process. So I'll make the motion to approve the item. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's 4 votes, and we have one council member who's out for the moment.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Motion is approved. All right, next item is discussion potential action to approve Lee and Rowe proposal for engineering services to the rehabilitation of 2 finished water storage tanks at a cost of $210,926, presented by Ruben Mireles, Interim Operations Division Manager. It's great to see you again.
Same here. And
good to see you again.
All the other council members, I don't know. So, but anyway, I'm the Interim Operations Divisions Manager I worked with the city for about 19 years. I retired, and I get we go back, which is okay. I mean, so. Anyway, this finished water storage tanks that we're trying to rehabilitate, they're about 25, 26 years old. And so it's the last piece of the puzzle that we need to get that treatment plant right up to where it's supposed to be. And that it's going to give you a long life of another 25 to 30 years. And the engineering services for Lee and Rowe, basically what they're going to do is they're going to evaluate them and do there's items within the tank that the reports there's 2 tank reports. Within those reports, there's some blistering in there. There's a curtain that's half fallen. And there's a cathodic protection system that also needs to be rehabilitated or replaced. And the curtain was used for mixing. However, now they've got different as the years pass, technology changes. So now we have mixers in there that takes care of the curtain, and we don't have that drama of that curtain falling down and migrating to it shouldn't migrate to. So so we're hoping to get Lee and Rowe
and we have a long history. We're working with Lee and Rowe, so
yes. Actually, there in the last 4 or 5 years, we have rehabilitated not only the internal components of the sedimentation basins, but we also rehabilitated all the pump systems. We did the liners. We did all the valves and gates. That project will be finished in another 2 or 3 weeks. And then we're going to jump into the liners in the back for the raw water. That's going to get done. I think this year. At the end of this year sometime. And so we're moving forward pretty well with the water treatment where, everything that you have there will be good for the next 20, 25 years.
Fantastic. Thank you for that information. Is there a motion to approve the item?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again. It's great seeing you.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben.
All right, next item is regular business 7C, discussion potential action to approve selection of AE Consulting, Inc. to provide professional architectural engineering and construction management services for the Brawley Municipal Airport and authorize the city manager to execute all documents concerning this contract. Presented by Tyler Salcido, our city manager.
Mayor, actually, our new Public Works Analyst is going to present
Our
this.
Public Works Analyst, our new.
Ana Guterres.
Here we go.
This item, it's a grant that we got about a year ago for the airport. The way the airport works, it's on an AIP basis where you get 5-year worth of projects. And their process is that first they want you to bring a consultant on board, and then you negotiate each of the contracts that you have, each of the projects. So tonight, I'm coming before you for authorization to go ahead and approve the consultant so that we can, at the next council meeting, bring the first item, which is the runway rehabilitation that we have. They're going to do the design for that so that we can accept the contract. So tonight, what needs to happen is that we need to bring the consultant on board so that we can move forward with the other projects.
Fantastic. All right.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just chiming in, lots of backup material, of course, with the background and experience, but Mr. Benelli and obviously the firm and all the projects that have been delivered in the past, there's a very successful track record. I always like to point out we have probably one of the finest, if not most updated municipal airports in Imperial County. Including, I think the last project was the lighting project that was mentioned in there in the backup material. So just, again, I know there's a lot of information in council as we look at it, but just a little bit of my background coming from it.
What is your background?
Looking forward. It happens to be
You fly planes?
35 years
right?
aviation, but did my fair amount of operating in and out of Brawley Airport. But no, I'm just excited to see what we're going to continue moving and glad we continue to get. I've always heard with this particular 90-10 FAA funding, once you're in the pipeline and once you have track record like we've had in the recent 10 years, it's kind of like it begets more projects, and we continue to make improvements as long as we can identify, right I think qualifying projects. So anyways, excited about it.
Is that your motion?
I will make a motion.
All right, there's a motion.
I will
There's a second. All right, there's a second. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
we'll be
congrats
here for
again.
thank you. We'll be
And
here
for
for
your-
the next meeting for the approval of the actual contract.
On your first presentation there. There you go. So, thank you again. All right, next item is informational reports. It's just a list of building permit reports for the month of March 2023. It's there for backup, and then we'll move on to city council member reports. We'll start with council member Hamby.
Mr. Mayor, I'll defer mine till next meeting.
All right, thank you. Council member Revelar.
Perfect. Since I was gone last time, I have a double the report that I usually have.
Oh, boy.
Yes, as I said, I was out last week, and yes, I missed you all just as much as you missed me. I was in
We miss you very much.
I was in Sacramento with SCAG, and some lobbying efforts. I know you shared it, but we do want to talk about. I wanted to talk about how sometimes these politicians in Sacramento are out of touch with our valley or rural California in general. But I will say that the legislators that we did speak with were very receptive, very willing to listen. Blew me away just to see those in our capital really working to address our concerns, not just regionally, but as far as in our valley. And just seeing that leadership really showed me why they're there. And so I just wanted to share, like I said, I know Tyler shared with about why I was there, and kind of talking with what the consultant said from GAFCON about the housing crisis and things that are being put on cities as well as constraining them from addressing it. So hopefully some things come to be from that. I will say, though, I know we talk about parks and even, but I did attend the AB 617 meeting. So the the north end of the Imperial County was designated an AB 617 community corridor. A few years ago, our Assembly member Eduardo Garcia authored this bill that designated funds, the south corridor of Calexico, El Centro, and Heber was designated corridor, and that allowed them to get funds to address the air quality in that area. Now, with the north end being designated as an AB 617 community, that will open up ourselves, Calapat, and Westmoreland to these funds. And these funds have been used in the south end to urban greening projects, indoor air filtration, paving projects. So I think it's an opportunity for Brawley. Like I said, we will be competing with Westmoreland and Calapat for these funds if we can get a representative on that committee. But it's something to keep an eye on as we're moving forward, as we look at developing certain areas, as we look at just trying to obtain any funding that we can. This AB 617 community corridor in the north end is something to keep an eye on and actively participate. There was very little attendance at the last meeting. It was at Del Rio. So I don't think there'll be a big competition to get on that committee, but once you get on that committee, you can really start providing input into kind of projects you'd like to see to address air quality and environment in our community. So I'll share with you, Tyler, that information that I got, and maybe we can find someone from the city or maybe one of us to participate. I don't, 2 meetings ago, this weekend is the Taco Fest, right? The Taco Fest. It's a Taco Fest on Friday. And we're approaching the end of the fiscal year, and I know Councilmember Hamby brought up the, revisiting discussion, the waiving of fees, or at the very least, the planning of this. And so I think as we approach the end of fiscal year and get ready for the next, I'd like to see maybe a list of all the events that we had that require street closures and that we did waive these fees, just to get us a feel and help us better prepare for this next coming year. Because who's to say that we can afford, not that we can afford, it's not even about affording, it's also just about, that's like I said, our staff is cleaning it, our PD is patrolling it, our public works is setting it up, so it's not just recouping fees, but also I think an opportunity for us to gain some of that dollars to reinvest in our own events. I want to give a shout to Rachel for the Easter egg hunt. Not every event has to be a street closure. It'd be nice to have big events and then little events spread within, but that also costs money as well for us too. We're not waiving fees for Rachel. She's using those city funds, and so somehow circulating it, but also seeing, sometimes I feel like we get last minute requests to waive street closures, at least maybe some sort of policy, at least a month in advance. If not, then unfortunately we'd be unable to waive it. I think if you're waiting within a month to waive street closures, you're fine. You're going to move forward with it. And so yeah, just maybe certain things in place, just so like at the last minute we're doing it, we're trying to figure out, just helping prepare, maybe a 6-month calendar, but just things in place so we don't get into another Ivy Press headline and hundreds of comments talking about what's going on in Brawley. One thing I do want to address is, we recently had a tragedy that saw 2 of our elderly lose their lives. I do trust that punishment will be swift and severe, but it does touch us, I think, on some perceptions and realities within and of our city. I know I've heard, and it's not just because of this, but going around with some of the violence and some of the incidences, murder capital of the valley. That's perception. It's not reality, but sometimes perception resonates farther than the truth. But reality is, we've taken a lot of illegal guns off our streets. Fentanyl is within our community, gangs, crime. We're not alone in this, but this is reality of our city. I guess the reality is that we will need to, or at least prioritize investments into our public safety to create a safer Brawley. Once again, to address the reality, but also the perception. The reality is our budget is not probably where we'd like it to be, like many cities, and that's going to be require some discussions that may be uncomfortable for some in regards to how we can. Ultimately, it does come down to funding, and I know we've talked about hotel occupancy, sales, cannabis. At the very least, and some of these ideas we might not agree with, the public might not, but at least having these discussions sooner rather than later, perhaps votes, just so we can clearly state where we're going to address some of these issues, not just for the public, but also for administration is going to have to handle all these incoming budget. And it's not better for our state either. One of the top big things I heard with California was a budget deficit. Leave it up to our governor to go from a $70 billion budget surplus to now a $20 billion deficit within a year. And so the state will not be able to save us. Hopefully it can save itself, but also collaborating. I know Councilmember Ward and I were recently at a collab breakfast, and IID shared about their $1.1 billion budget. They deal in mega projects. So, in quote, when you think of lithium, think of IID. Think of the community, think of Calapan, an island, but the point is working with them. IID, I just read that they're looking at another 1 million acre fee in conservation. And agriculture impacts us. Any impact to our agriculture industry and water impacts us. I know Mayor Nava and I just recently did a tour of our ag businesses and ag industry. And so if we have less water that's impacting our ag industry, how are we mitigating those impacts? And so utilizing every and all resource to help our budget, help our funding, to create a safer Brawley, to create a better Brawley. And all this while we have an ongoing healthcare crisis. I applaud the board for having that the presentation last meeting. I was unable to attend, but there was a presentation and discussion at our Board of Supervisors meeting, and it seemed that we're taking maybe steps backwards. I know Ms. Rubin was here, and I did want to question, but I just didn't feel like it was time. But there's some disagreements on this bill and that, and how we move forward. And so it's going to be a very trying year, I think. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to sound the alarm or be Brawley. We got wrong. We got wrong. And so, but there's going to be a lot of discussions that are going to be had to the public that they're going to be wanting to know. At the very least, I know we're working. You got your experience is going to help guide us through this, but it is going to be quite the budget and the fiscal year next year on how to address some of these concerns that have been building, have been ongoing, that are really out of our control. Like I said, when it comes to crime, our PD and our fire as well is working tirelessly to address them. And so these are the things out of their control, out of our control, but we still have to address them nevertheless. And so that being said, thank you, Tyler. Thank you for the board, the council. Thank you for the public for attending, and looking forward to having these discussions and looking forward to building a better Brawley. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, Councilmember Wharton.
Mr. Mayor, and as referenced, and did attend the collab breakfast with Councilmember Revelar, and certainly as all of us have attended, whether it's past or present, the format was the same, and of course the news wasn't. There's a lot of new stuff, obviously, as we all know, going on both county and the district sharing kind of their platforms on what's coming up. A lot of it, well, obviously, was the discussion was looking forward around lithium, and as expected. So again, very interesting insight as always. Next topic I just want to touch on, and I saved my comments. I didn't leave it for the open comment period, public comment period, but despite maybe some of the earlier comments on the noise issue downtown, I have, and actually not the only council member that have been doing something about it. So I would say it was a little bit mischaracterized that nothing's happening. I actually last week had a lengthy discussion with the manager in person of the Sweden Plaza with reference to all of the residents there. And our steps that we're taking is what I think Mayor Pro Tem Castro volunteered to do is to get the two parties together and see if we can work through some immediate mitigations that could work potentially for everyone. Maybe everyone's not going to be perfectly happy, but I think, always in disputes like this, we got to get together and see if we can get to the root cause and see what we could do. I think also, in fairness to the council, I've been very clear and as representative as possible, not of just my view, but I think the views that have been shared up here publicly about this council's sort of focus and continue drive to do and accomplish the things we want to accomplish downtown. So I also want to make the public aware that any issue like this, it's going to be a balance of interests with stakeholders. We're certainly sensitive to all of that. But we also represent the Brawley businesses in the downtown and the heavy investments that have been put down there when really, the location in question, I also remind, was a victim of fire and arson just but a few years ago. So continued movement. I know there's additional movement and some exciting things that are starting to continue to happen downtown, but the hope here is prior to the next meeting, we can make some progress with those parties. So I just wanted to make sure I got that out there. Did have a nice meeting, kind of a follow-up for my own accord with the PMH CEO regarding this topic. It's obviously near and dear to all of us, and also had some conversations subsequent to that with some of the board members, some of which obviously were here today sharing comments. So it's a very dynamic and fluid situation with a lot at stake, I think, for the Valley, for all of us. And I certainly hope that all that are listening are engaged in these meetings, especially us as public officials, that we owe it to each other as a Valley that we have to communicate and be open and transparent with each other. So I think a lot of what is happening here is the feeling that parties are being left out, key stakeholders are being left out, and things are moving forward, perhaps in a way where all the critical pieces and input are not necessarily on the table. So I know we can do it. We're at an inflection point that is very clear, and I think I'm very hopeful, based on even some of the comments echoed in public comment, that this thing can get on track with a positive outcome. So those are my comments, Mr. Mayor. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much for your comments. We'll move on to Mayor Pro Tem Castro.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was gonna follow Councilmember Hamby's lead, but I do have to report. I might as well get it over with, right? I'm gonna echo those Councilmember Warren's comments about the noise complaints. I try to grow a thicker skin and not take it so personal, but I think that when we put in all that work, and all of us have full-time jobs, business to run, families. But we chose to be here, right? We ran and we lobbied you to vote for us so that we can be here representing you. So when people come up here and make those types of statements saying, I was going to come up here and something was going to get done and everyone told me nothing's going to get done, you're wasting your time. Well, I'll tell you what, we stay busy. And that doesn't count the time that staff spends on these issues. We make a lot of calls. We visit places. I've stood outside of the Ciudad Plaza at the time, and like 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, to see what it sounds like. So for them, and I'm getting up at 2:30 in the morning right now. So for me to be out there at that time, that's quite a bit of a sacrifice. So we are taking all that into account. I've had discussions with everyone on this board, on this council, about those issues. So I just want those folks to know that we are taking their comments, their concerns and complaints into consideration, and we're doing the best that we can without, breaking any laws, right? Without violating any of the rules, and obviously without stepping on staff's on their toes, right? Because they got a job to do, and we can't be an obstacle either. So we have to watch what we do, but we are trying. AB 918, as everyone mentioned here, continue to have conversations. I did have a 1-hour-long conversation with the assembly member last week. He called me to brief me on the status of this bill, just so that I would be informed. I also had an hour-long conversation with Mrs. Rubin, who came here today, and and with Mrs. Santillán. And this is all in an effort to be transparent. And so, why I'm caught up in the middle of this conversation, I don't know. Maybe it's because I said we weren't going to pay for El Centro's mistakes, and I think that just kind of got me caught up in this conversation. But obviously, that's a very fluid situation. The bill continues to change and update, and I think the assembly member's goal is to make sure that it fits for everyone, and he's doing right by everyone, including Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District. Let me continue. I don't want to get long-winded with all this stuff, but I'd like to welcome staff back. So that was cool to see that. I was very happy today, and welcome the new members to our staff. There's been a long process to all this, and I didn't have anything to do with it. I just got here as it was already happening. So I'm not going to take credit. It's the folks that were here already. So, but very happy to see where we're at now and the process and kind of where we're going now. So also reached out to Rachel. I want to thank Rachel for all the hard work and that she's doing. And I know that we can be annoying, and I know it's tough. I'm sorry? You can't? No. Not except the mayor. I can say. I mean, I'm serious. You're not annoying to me. I love talking to you. But anyway, so we will be meeting next week. I'm helping as best as I can without getting in the way with Flag Day and Memorial Day celebrations, the ceremonies that the city's going to have. So very happy to see that, obviously. And then to follow up on what Council Member Rebel Art was talking about, I know we did discuss these tax proposals a while ago, and I brought it up. The mayor's brought it up. Councilmember Rebel Arnold's now brought it up, and it's a very touchy subject, right? Anytime we talk about raising taxes or any way to raise revenue for the city, it's tough. Where are we going to get it from, right? It's a sacrifice, but we do have a problem. We do need extra revenue. We have an issue at the police department, at the fire department, at Parks and Recs, at Public Works. Everyone has needs, but we need more money for that. In the state, you're correct. The state is not going to come and save us. That money's gone. They spent it, and they spent more than they had. So this leads directly to my very next comment, and this homework for Mr. Medina. So I tell you guys, I work construction. I love it, and I know that I should be moving on because I'm getting too old for it. But I love it. And so I'm out there banging stuff out. Sometimes I run into some of our constituents out there. And they'll be like, "Hey, mayor." And I'm like, "I'm not the mayor. Don't let George hear you say that." All right.
That's good.
It's coming. It's coming. But they remind me of our issues. And I hate to explain myself while I'm on the clock working for somebody else, right? And so I remind them today, one of our constituents, Mr. Garcia, and I'll leave it at that, complained about the street, B Street, specifically the area directly in front of Oakley School. And I said that we have a schedule, right, of the things that are coming up, street repairs and whatnot, but they don't have access to this information. So if we could perhaps provide a link on our city webpage that shows them exactly, this is what's coming up, this is the Public Works, this is what we're doing. And so I know that everyone wants it done now or yesterday, but I think if they know it's coming, I think that's pretty good for them. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your comments. Appreciate it, Mayor Pro Tem Castro and all of council. I'll keep my comments brief. 35 minutes, okay? So, all right, now everybody, thank staff. I know there's you know, a lot of activity within the city and new roles and responsibilities. It's, you know, it's ebbs and flows within the city. We know that. Sometimes we're a little higher and sometimes we're a little lower. Right now, we're just transitioning, and I'm excited about it because we've got some new people on board and some new roles being filled. So it's good stuff. I want to thank all of staff for all the work that they're doing and for everybody's commitment to the city. I appreciate it. I know I've been tied up with my professional life and being mayor as well, and there's a lot of movement in my life, and I'm waking up early and going to sleep late, and you know, I'm just I'm excited about the future here soon. So I do want to let the public know that we are having a mayor's breakfast May 12th, and that's at the Stockman's Club. That will provide an insight. And, you know, we had it last year with Mayor Couchman, and we had skipped a couple years because of COVID, but it's a good time to be able to get the message out of what the city has worked on over maybe the past couple of months or past few months at least, and then moving forward. Because there's a lot to... I always say it, there's a lot that the city does on a day-to-day basis that we don't highlight. We need to let the public know. We need to be our best PR. We need to be our best advocate, and we need to be, quite honestly, our own newspaper. Get that message out there, and that's a good way to do it. So I encourage everyone, if you can, please attend May 12th, Mayor's Breakfast at Stockman's Club. And beyond that, I'll send out the invitation, but I do want to invite, of course, the public and city staff and all of council. I will have a ribbon cutting grand opening on a project that I've been working on for over 5 months, and I'm very excited about it, and that is going to be on May 18th, and so that's a Thursday. It's the chamber will be helping with that as well, but it's going to be a lot of fun, you know, food, drinks, all that good stuff. And then I do want to thank city staff, our building department, and everyone else who's been super helpful in providing professional input. I've had Mayor Pro Tem Castro out there helping a little bit. We've had Council Member Hamby out there helping professionally as well. And so they're great construction people, and you know, and they've provided some great input. And so, you know, but that's how we work together. You know, we work as a team. We're helping revitalize things. I'm excited. I hope you're excited too, because I started to. We haven't had our final walkthrough that's coming in the next few days, but I'm no, but it's just I'm excited, man, because it's going to be. It's going to be like a reflection of my personality. You'll see it. I think you'll see the artwork on the walls, the stuff that's in there. I love music. I love movies. I love, you know, I like a good time. And I think you'll see it reflected in the building itself. And it's going to be something that I think is very different than other facilities. So anyway, enough of that. So May 12th, Mayor's Breakfast. May 18th, ribbon cutting, and really kind of a celebration just for all of us. Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate working together, being cool. And for me, it's a little bit of a relief of so many months of kind of just dedication and getting up and putting that past and moving forward with a new business. So anyway, cool. Thank you all very much. Thank you to the public as well. Our city attorney report.
No report, Mr. Mayor, but congratulations on investing in the community again.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm impressed that you do that. And
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's the second business. Last time when I was mayor, I rehabbed G Street, and then this time as mayor, I rehabbed 8th Street. So, you know, they're both in the downtown specific plan area. And I don't know, between them both, they represent about $1 million. So, you know, it's at least for me, you know, I don't have any hair, but you know, it's a big deal for me. So anyway, enough of that. Thank you all. So we'll adjourn the meeting to May 16th at 6 p.m. Thank you all very much for your patience, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.